Hello, and thank you for joining us on the Voluntary Virtues Roundtable. My name is Robert Kruger. I'll be your host, and Michael Shanklin hopefully will be joining us as well. We have a wonderful group of panelists. Got a good friend of mine, Kyron Pearson, who's joined me in Albuquerque, and welcome to the show, Kyron.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And, of course, we've got the Liberty Geek. Awesome to have you here, Chuck. And
always love it.
Cody is also here with us. Good to see you. And we've got Rothschild, absolutely, one of the regulars, Garrett, and a wonderful gentleman that I got a chance to meet in Jackalope Freedom Festival, Jesse Mathewson. Wonderful to see you again. Thank you for joining us here on Voluntary Virtues After Hours. I mean, not After Hours, but just Voluntary Virtues Roundtable. After Hours does follow the show, so hopefully you'll be able to.
It's after hours if you're Welsh or English.
So anyway, the primary subject I wanted to bring everybody into to discuss was a episode of the show called Survivor. If you're not familiar with it, it's a reality TV show where people come on and are sent to a exotic location. They're given really only the clothes on their backs. Maybe a machete, and then if they win something, then or they might get fire, but they get like a bag of rice, and they have to make their own shelter and things like that. Different teams compete, and in this particular version, they have this thing called Blood versus Water, where you have family members or girlfriend, boyfriend on opposite sides of the game. One person is on one side, their daughter, friend, son, whatever, might be on the other team. So whichever relative it is that they have, or love interest, or whatever. Well, if you're not familiar with the Braves, Atlanta Braves player known as John Rocker, he was a participant on this game show. And John Rocker had at one point in time made statements that were considered racist and homophobic. He's also known for being kind of a jerk to his to the people in the stands as well. Generally not very likable person. Anyway, he went on the show, and during an interaction with one of the players from the opposing team, they had an agreement where he said that he would protect that player's girlfriend, or wife, I guess it was, in exchange for having his girlfriend being protected on his team. So you got John Rocker and this other dude's girlfriend on the same team, and then you've got the other dude and John Rocker's girlfriend on the other team. And so comes down to it, the other guy gets all pissed off because Rocker did not protect his girlfriend and keep her from getting voted out from the game. Realistically, Rocker actually did what he could. He told her, look, people are going to want to vote for you. I can't convince them not to. She was saying that she had immunity that she could use, and she didn't use it because she was lying. That's fine. She's voted out. He didn't really screw her over at all. Anybody who's legitimately, looking into it, yes, she failed, not John Rocker. However, at this point, the other guy gets all upset and starts to talk about Rocker's history, explaining his actions, telling people that he, said racist remarks and things like that. At this point, his girlfriend is now rebuffed by the entire team. Everyone is really just not talking to her. Maybe there's one chick who's kind of like, hey, don't worry about it. It's not that big of a deal. It's his thing, not yours, and so on. But she's feeling it something fierce. She is really upset about the fact that Rocker created this awful situation for her to deal with, and it's a result of his actions and not hers. She's emotionally distraught over it. I thought about this a while back before the show, but I think that this really, brought it home in that I believe that in our efforts to convert the people who are in our society into a freedom-loving society into a peaceful society, those individuals who are doing things that are offensive and abusive, attacking people who have done nothing wrong, they have committed what they call crimes but have no victim, um, police officers, legislators, these people, I believe that we should create a community that knows these people's names, that knows their faces, that knows their family members' names and faces, knows where they're located, knows their girlfriends, their husbands, whatever it may be, and we make this information public about what it is that they've done, so that way we can actually start to get the ostracism going towards our political officials and towards police officers, so that we can start to bring the screws home to the people that are really, screwing us. So, I was thinking that this would be kind of good idea. I don't know what you guys wanted to say about it. Certainly, I thought it was an idea to bring up with Kyron. So anyway, you've not been on the show before, Jesse. So I'd like just your take on what it is that I'm talking about. Whether you think it would be effective, if we had people basically keeping people from, going into our restaurants, we wouldn't do work for them, whatever it may be. So what do you think?
Right. Having dealt with a similar situation over the last 2 years now, with a couple of people whose names are quite big in the liberty movement, and who, quite honestly, most of their supporters just refuse to look at any facts regarding the situation and have taken this other person's side. As a result of this, I would love to see something like this come into place, or occur. But the largest problem that I see with that is that, regardless of whether they call themselves part of the liberty movement or not, and I hate to use my own personal observations because I really love facts. Robert and Kieran, you both know that about me. I love my stats and facts. But in this particular situation, what I have found is that the largest percentage of individuals out there, regardless of what they call themselves or what they claim to believe, would rather believe their emotions versus the facts. So while it would be a really great idea, I don't see it taking off, honestly. I'm not going to lie. I'm just,
All right, and who's next? Want to start down the line? Chuck?
Cody raised his hand. Cody raised his hand first. I'll give it to him.
All right, Cody.
Well, I just had a couple of things. I think there's two psychology factors that are kind of going against this actually having much of an effect. First of all, I don't think it's a bad thing to do. I think if you want to expend the energy to try to put out there publicly vile acts and try to get it into the hands of people who actually know these people and attempt to create an ostracism, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I question its effectiveness, though, because of two psychological factors. First of all, I don't know if anybody's ever experienced whether you read a book or you watch a movie and then you find out that the movie you watched or the song that you even heard for the first time was actually a cover or a remake or whatever. But the song you heard first tends to be the one you prefer because it's the first version you heard. You got familiar with it, and I think that this tends to carry over into our personal relationships too. So people who know the cop, even if it's just Fred who shows up for coffee every day, they don't know anything about this fucker, but he shows up for coffee every day. He's familiar. He's the new person, he's the first person that they were familiar with, and then some stranger on the internet wants to point out some sin that this person did. I think they're more likely to side with Fred than they are with the internet advocate. And then secondly, people who are very close to this person are going to take it personally because they're the ones who have associated with this guy. And so it's almost an attack on their personal character because they've chosen to associate with this guy. They're on the cop's side, they're the cop's wife, they're the cop's brother, et cetera, et cetera. So any attack on the cop is an attack on people who are already willfully associating and supporting the dude. So I think that you've got a big wall of resistance there that's up against you just psychologically with anybody who could meaningfully ostracize this person are also the toughest people to try to reach out to.
Well, I'm not just
Again,
talking
I'm not
about,
going to say that it's wrong. I'm just saying that I think the cards are stacked against you in this case.
but keep in mind, I'm not just talking about ostracizing the police officer. I'm talking about ostracizing the police officers' wives, ostracizing the police officers' children.
Their
You know,
friends, their family.
yeah, if they have a child, and if I find out, let's say, for example, a friend of, let's say I had a kid, and they had a friend who was at school with some other kid, whose parent turned out to be a police officer, and I decide that, you know what, your child is not going to be allowed to come over to my home. Your child is not going to be allowed to be attending any events that I put on because of your police officerness. And your child gets upset about this and goes, crying to you about, well, why can't I go to Joey's party? Well, yeah, this is a very difficult concept to actually, how do we explain that? How do you, but it's more than just the ostracism of the police officer. And I believe that the strongest way that we could effectively change the police officer's choice of vocation is to cause their local, their friends, their family members to feel like he's a pariah and they can't be associated with him. So either they get him to change occupations or stop being friends with him. Anyway, did we have you had your hand up? What's that? Who commented?
No, I said I agree with you, Robert.
Right.
I think that that's a great idea. It's just...
I have a little bit of a problem, and I may have to think about this further and come back to it, because sometimes I work that way. But I, just as a personal anecdote, like Jesse said, this is not, science or philosophy when you're just talking about your own experience and your own perception of it. But, I went to high school with this kid. We went to a beer drinking party, and I didn't know this kid at all. And even though it was a small town, nobody knew this kid very well because he was a cop's kid. He was a sheriff's kid. And nobody really knew that, and we're sitting there drinking beer, and we're 15, and I look over, and somebody says, he's the sheriff's son, and we're like, what the fuck? Get out of here! Like, we didn't want anything to do with the kid. Turns out, he didn't think too highly of his father either. So I guess my point in relaying that story is that I don't know that I myself would feel ethically responsible by trying to ostracize people who had nothing to do with the actual crime, even though if it's a family member or a brother or a kid or whatever. Now, it's a little different for a spouse or a friend or a brother-in-law because at least they have a choice. Kids don't have a choice. I mean, they're locked up in that SOB's house. It's not like they can get away from him. So the kids may be the one exception that I find. I think it might be more effective, like you say, Robert, but I question the ethics involved in basically ostracizing and punishing somebody who had nothing to do with or no choice in the matter.
Kyron?
I was going to question of whether or not it's ethical or moral. I don't think you're necessarily causing harm to the child by exposing the fact that they are the son or daughter of a cop. Now, I mean, would that put a lot more pressure on the situation? Probably. I mean, people would really consider all right, my kids are out there, they're exposed, people know what they look like, there's pictures of them on the internet because of the things that I've done. I've gone out and shot people or I've thrown people in cages for victimless crimes. So, I think it really brings home the fact that, hey, your actions, you're responsible for your actions, and they may have repercussions that go far beyond you going to work every day. And so I'm not against the idea at all. I think it's pretty great. I think what would be hard is sort of getting it out there to get for people to see. All right, this guy's a cop. If he comes to your shop, don't let him in, right? Or these are his children, don't let him in. It could be pretty easy, or it could be really difficult. but I would like to see how how it's implemented, how it works out. But I think why not? Why not know? It's like this. What is it? The sexual predators that live in your neighborhood. You might as well know who the actual just every predator is in the form of cops and government officials in general in your neighborhood. Why not?
All right. Just a comment from just a moment. Comment from the comment section on the YouTube channel. Lydia says, "I agree. It's wrong to mistreat kids based on their parents' behavior or choices." Okay, Chuck, you wanted to chime in, but just since we only have Jesse the one time, I'd like to let Jesse bump you just a sec. So make it quick.
Sorry, Chuck. Real quick, our neighborhood locally here, we're on, we affectionately term ourselves as 18th Street because this is 18th Street. It's about a block and a half long, and it's between two major streets. We rarely see the cops on the street because no one calls the cops. We rarely see the cops on the street because no one likes the cops, and so we do everything we can to avoid them. So if that helps at all, it does work.
And you also like the ice cream truck.
Yeah.
I had to be in my mic. That's just too damn funny.
All right, Chuck, what was your comment on this?
All right, so do you mind if I Liberty Geek it up a second?
Go for it.
So you were talking about ostracizing, and in the nerd culture movement, there has been an ostracizing movement going on. I did an episode about it called Gamergate, and basically these series of publications were attacking gamers for all sorts of reasons. So then the gamers started pushing back and coming out and basically trying to get these publications ostracized and the people that work for them. For example, Intel, a very big tech giant, you know, they make processors, they make all sorts of stuff. Everyone's heard of them. Was advertising on a website called Gamma Sutra, which was one of the websites that had said that gamers are dead for whatever reason, that they were misogynist or sexist. And gamers wrote into Intel saying, basically on a similar ostracizing movement, saying that we would prefer if you stop doing your advertising on this website because of what they said, and Intel stopped advertising on that website and pulled out all advertisements and all money. And then in return, all these other social justice warriors started trying to ostracize Intel, which is literally impossible because they literally have like 75% of the market share for almost everything technology related. So good luck. But the idea of this ostracizing, there we go. I like it, but I also am afraid that hate breeds hate. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think that if we just take a look at the prisoner's dilemma and game theory, it's pretty clear that if you do a tit for tat type of thing, as long as you don't have the ability to game the system, which I can go into with an example of a group that did game the system, but you know, ostracism does work if you are willing to cooperate with people just fine, but the moment that they start screwing with you, you start screwing with them back.
I agree.
But I have to chime in here, guys. I'm sorry, I have to. If you're going to go with the prisoner's dilemma issue, you know that the greatest way to maximize profits would be to be trustful of the other person, so long as you can trust the other person. But if we're trying to push a society which is based on trust, which is based on people's trust for other people to follow through on contracts without having to have a sovereign power, then we've got to at least express that in how we deal with people. We can't see everybody as a threat, you know, even though they might be involved with these ideas of, even if they are a cop, even if they are like, I don't get the whole ostracizing thing. Personally, just because I can see it at a personal level. If you tried to argue, if you tried to reason with them, and they still won't, then you've got to eventually walk away from the situation for sure. But that's not saying that everybody's heard those arguments. Not everybody has. Not everybody has even contemplated the idea that some people might think that they are not doing what's right. So I think that we've got to at least give them a chance.
All right, Rothschild, what do you have to say?
Sure. Well, certainly legally, there's no problem. Freedom of association and all that jazz. So, which I think everyone here is in agreement on. So we can ignore that. In terms of, do I think ostracism is effective? Well, in my experience, people are lazy and narcissistic. Throughout a lot of my life, I've been told, don't talk and to shut up and stuff like that. Not once did I ever say to myself, am I saying something that's offensive? Maybe that's not what I don't want to hear it. No. My response was they just don't want to hear the truth, and that's why they're shutting me up, which I still believe. And I think that one of the bad things about trying to shut people up when it comes to debates is that you make it worse. You just empower the person who feels shut up, saying, if they're not willing to debate with me, and if they just want to boo and hiss, then I must be right. Otherwise, they would just let me talk and expose my idiocy. And I think one of the reasons people like this state is because it's easier. Persuasion is hard work, and if I have other options available, I'll use it. I rather use my fists because I don't want to have to use my brain. And I think that a lot of people would use ostracism not as a last resort. I agree with Garrett. Ostracism should not be the first thing you do. I think the goal should be to change minds, and ostracism is not going to do that. I think ever. I think the best ostracism will do is, for my own self-interest, I'll change. But it's certainly not going to have the person who's ostracized saying, I'm probably a dick. No, it's these people are dicks and they don't just understand me, but I need to eat, so I guess I'll give in. And I'm not sure how effective that is. I think, talking to people, reasoning is good. I'm not a fan of punishing other people. I do have to disagree with you when ostracize their children. People don't choose who their parents are, as Cody was saying, and that's I don't think is really fair to do so. And even your spouse. Look, I mean, if the guy's a real dick, the woman might be afraid to leave the guy. So just because a woman's in a relationship
Offer her a dick.
Doesn't mean that she approves of his actions. Maybe I don't want to get beat up, and that's why I'm with him. I agree he's a jerk. That's why I'm afraid to leave the guy. So just because someone's married to someone or with someone doesn't mean that they like each other. A lot of people who are with people they don't like, and shit like that. I mean, there was a guy who hired some men to throw acid in his girlfriend's face, and she stayed with him. I mean, that's fucked up. But I mean, the person doesn't have a lot of self-confidence if they're doing this stuff. But
Either
I don't
she
think
might like belts.
Yeah, I don't think ostracism works particularly, and I would advocate it as a last resort. I mean, look, it depends. Certain people you're never going to reason with. A guy's a violent thug. Try reasoning yourself out of getting stabbed. I mean, it's probably not going to work. With reasonable people, I reason, and people who are not reasonable, I don't try. As my grandfather once said, to expect those who are irrational to be rational is irrational. So I acknowledge that fact. But I don't think that ostracism is the ideal form. I would do it because there's no other option.
All right, so we got a couple of comments from Lydia, and then another comment. All right, so Lydia said it would help if there was a way we could instantly check the reputation or background of any person we came across, but that would violate people's privacy. Well, when it comes to the people who work in public jobs, their information is certainly available without a violation of privacy. They put themselves in the public light. Police officers' records are certainly something that I don't think is particularly private. The information about who it is that they are friends with, who it is that they are, that's their spouse, that kind of information is it's a question whether it is privacy or not. I'm not sure. I think that might be a point. And just to clarify my position, I'm exploring this as a concept. I'm not necessarily saying that it's something that I approve of. I'm just asking the question. So I mean, quite frankly, to Lydia's next point, it says ostracism is more likely to create cliquish type culture of elitist types. Well, yeah, I suppose it may, but if we had a very broad scope where I'm talking on the level where you could pull out your cell phone and do a facial recognition, and if the person is affiliated with one of these violent actors, you would know it. This doesn't necessarily have to be very, so limited. And if it was in that, if it was very broadly applied, you would see that, being able to go out to dinner at a fancy restaurant would become very difficult for people who work in positions like, legislators. Obviously legislators are very easy to do. But anyway, then we got 3 guys, 1 bucket.
What a name.
I agree, kill them all, let God sort them out.
That's the anarchist approach.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm going to have to say...
Can I respond to Lydia's first comment?
Yeah, absolutely.
Who says you have a right to privacy? You have a right to persons and property, and you're not allowed to violate people's rights. You're not allowed to things that they made secret. You can't go through their stuff. But if it's out there, who says you have a right to privacy? I don't think you have a right to privacy.
I think Cody has a right to privacy.
Well, I mean,
Cody's beard has the right to privacy.
what do you think about
I think of everybody here, Kieran has rights, okay? I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, give it to the black.
I'm sorry. I had to put that out there.
And then the show derailed.
Let's keep the railing part for the after hours if we're going to go. And he also says, consider the possibility that ostracism is human nature. Lions have prides. Tadpoles have their own pools. I don't know about the tadpole thing, but I do know that if you're a male or a female actually in a lion's pride and you don't get along with the top cats in that particular group, then you're going to find yourself not part of the group.
If they don't like your dick, Robert, if they don't like your dick, they're going to send you away.
Yeah,
Let me also just say one brilliant insight of mine, and I say that without bias. In order for ostracism to work, it has to be on a scale large enough. So if 1 or 2% of the population ostracizes them, that's not going to change anything because it's not enough. The only way ostracism would work is if it's on a large enough scale. But if it's on a large enough scale for it to work, that means you're already at the point where the majority of the population doesn't approve of what these people do, and therefore you're already at the point where you don't need the victimless crime laws and you don't need the abusive police because the people are not willing to tolerate it. So when ostracism is actually going to be effective, that's when you don't actually need it at that point to get your message across.
The eBay principle is what Lydia was talking about, though, and honestly, that works. The eBay principle, it works. If somebody is, if they have way more people saying that these people are great to work with than the people that are saying, wow, what the hell, it works. It does work. So.
Stetson Preston, who is an admin of Libertarian Gaming on Facebook, says that I agree with changing minds beforehand. However, the military mentality is hard to remove from the mind.
Yeah, so
I think he's right.
That may be where, even though we've achieved a majority perspective, we still need a little bit of a kick in order to accomplish what
Does that make us ANCOMs now?
No, certainly not. At least not me.
If I was a restaurant owner, I would just piss in the cop's drink. I would not ostracize them.
If I become an ANCOM, just please shoot me in the middle of my show. Thank you.
Yeah, we can talk about ANCOMs in the after hours if you want.
Well, there would be nothing wrong with killing you because if you're an ANCOM, you don't know.
Oh my God, the lag is real right now.
Yeah, it seems like Jesse has a fair amount of lag, so
it's the ice cream truck, man.
It's actually broadcasting an interference signal so that it'll mix with your Wi-Fi.
What he doesn't
I'm gonna cut out the audio on mine.
He's got FB ice cream
I'll
truck.
cut out the audio now on mine.
What he
Sorry about that.
What he doesn't realize is it's actually the FBI and not an ice cream truck.
FB ice
So
cream.
when his camera feed cuts, we know why.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
have to go now. I've got some
so
weed I got to
then,
put away, guys.
I guess. So I guess that the group has kind of come to a general thing that says, well, maybe not, probably not. Okay.
Kind of. I'm on the kind of level.
The group?
I am
What kind of
too.
anarchist is this?
Yeah, and Robert, I didn't mean
Concept as a
to
group.
immediately shoot down the idea either. I was just throwing stuff out there, but I do like I was actually going to bring up eBay before, and then it got introduced. So I would like to point out, though, that if ostracism is to take place, that I think that the only way that we can rationally do it is not based on the person's uniform or job position. I've said this many times, that the whole "I hate all cops" mentality, I think, can really set us up for failure as trying to convince other people of our rational philosophy, right? So
I don't want to leave this topic quite yet because Three Guys One Bucket posted some more interesting stuff, Robert.
3 guys, 1 bucket.
You can't argue with a name like that. You have to read his comments now.
you at least have to. You
It's
have to at
pretty
least
good.
But my final point on that was just that if we had like an eBay system, basically, for ostracism, that it's based off of their individual actions and not their job title.
Yeah,
If that makes
absolutely.
sense.
If if you're going to have the ostracism be done right, I mean, quite frankly, I think that being able to pull up an app on your phone that's got a picture of the guy and it's got, all right, passed legislation to prohibit gays from marrying each other. That to me would be something I would want to know so that I can keep this person out of my restaurant because I don't want them there. I don't.
It's interesting you mention that because this whole, it's sort of ridiculous because a lot of libertarians are accused by the left that, you're just bigots because you want to allow discrimination. Now, obviously, there are a bunch of let me go on a tirade for a few minutes, but there are a bunch of responses to that. I mean, obviously, I believe in freedom of speech. That doesn't mean that I approve of everything someone says. Freedom of speech means that people are going to utter racist words. It means people are going to utter obscenities, vulgarity, say mean things. Freedom of speech means people are going to say speech you find offensive. Otherwise, it's not really freedom of speech. And the freedom of speech that we have to defend is the most outlandish, because that's how we know we really have it. And I think the same with freedom of association. So that's one response. But the second response is that by not allowing racists and bigots to discriminate, you're hiding who they are. At least now everyone knows who these people are, and avoid that guy, which is why there's a sexual registry for, pedophiles or people who take pictures of their own cock. Because you want to know who these people are, and the best way to do so is revealing them. Don't hide it. Don't make it where now people are not allowed to discriminate, and now no one knows who the bigot is. Allow them to, and let them suffer the consequences for their own foolish actions.
Well, I speaking on the bigot racist thing, I just want to make this distinction that I like to make is, I feel like the only people who can really be truly racist are the people who work for the government. Everybody else is just a bigot. Unless you begin to violate the non-aggression principle based on your bigotries, then, it's possible that you can become a racist. But, government officials in and of themselves who legislate and put in policies or enact policies or enforce policies that are inherently racist are racist, right? Even if you're black or of color or whatever. Also, another thing I wanted to mention, back to the whole ostracism thing. I really think that there's something more effective that you can do in order to bring about attention to these things. And I say it all the time. I think it's growing food and building houses that take care of you instead of you taking care of them. And getting yourself as far away from those kind of sycophants as you can. But
that is a form of ostracism.
It's like you ostracize yourself, self-ostracism.
Well, I mean, but you're ostracizing them by refusing to give them the monies that you would give them and so on. Yeah.
Right, because you're not around, right?
You know, you can ostracize the whole community because they're all a bunch of,
Status.
yeah, bootlicking.
Yeah.
I have the answer for them too, but By the way, that's some really good stuff. It's medical stuff, so yeah. If you guys use GPG, I can get it to you. Not a problem. Yep.
Why did you turn off the lights? What are you hiding?
I do a lot of things behind no lights. Okay, I'm not gonna lie.
If you have nothing
Really?
to hide, you have nothing to fear.
Here you go. There you go. There, see?
You have nothing to hide. You have nothing to fear.
Hey, you hear that?
Next time someone says it to me, I'm just going to ask them to take off their clothes.
You hear that ice cream truck? It sounds like it's getting closer.
There's no ice cream truck. I went inside. My connection is great now, so it's not my lag. Okay, I'm not gonna. Hey.
So, I think that we've all experienced a little bit of ostracism in a negative way. The ostracism that occurs if, let's say, you're in Orem, Utah, and you don't go to a Mormon church. Well, that's a pretty negative result that you're going to get there, not getting hired because they haven't seen you at their own, whatever group.
Temple.
Yeah, their temple. Things like that. So, I mean, realistically, we're already experiencing, ostracism in a certain respect. I mean, if you're involved in the commerce of trading things that are considered to be not acceptable, then you're ostracized by being put
Robert, it's okay. You can tell them. I sell things that are illegal to other people who voluntarily wish to have it.
Yeah, well...
So, Three Guys, One Bucket says something interesting again, and he says, I fear my two sons will have to grow up in a world where their father is a wage slave to a sexist dominatrix who abuses all her employees because of the ostracism of obscene feminism at the workplace. What?
Yeah, I think that he's basically somewhat of a fan of the MRA position and has a feminist who is in charge of his workplace who is taking things a bit far. Yeah, the fact is that ostracism works both ways, and we've actually seen ostracism effectively work in a lot of other environments, and I think that if we can actually start, publicizing and making it not just publicizing, but just making a freaking ruckus about it in the media, in social media, and so on. I want the guy down south here of Albuquerque who put doctors up to sticking things in people's butts to check to see if they've got an item that somebody might enjoy having.
How much does that cost?
That was the entire department, Robert.
Well, it wasn't just the entire department. I mean, there are certainly people who worked there that may not have agreed, but as far as I understand it, it was him and the person who was his partner, and certainly the people that are the head, higher ups in that same organization, kind of all fell behind him in some respects. But I want to see him to not be able to show his face at a restaurant. I want all the restaurants in that area to just, not just restaurants, putt-putt, laser tag, whatever the hell it is, that he wants to go to see a frickin' movie. I want the person who's, taking his money for a ticket to say, you know what, I've been instructed by my supervisor that we're not going to allow people in our business who have violated other people in such a horrible way. I want the doctor to be ostracized. I want the doctor I want him to have to find another job because people have chosen to not go to that hospital anymore because they let him stay at that job even though he did what he did. Go ahead.
Yeah, it might sound weird because I was criticizing ostracism a bit before, just in terms of its effectiveness, perhaps. But one of the things that pisses me off is these hypocrites who do not allow ostracism, right? Because, the best way, if you if you don't like something and you want to, when you should have the right to ostracize people, right? I mean, it pisses me off. I mean, this issue of people are their own worst enemy sometimes. It just drives me crazy. I mean, anyone who believes that the idea to reduce homophobia is to sue someone, is for that person to sue a bakery owner is fucking retarded. People don't like you when you start suing them. So to not allow ostracism, to forbid it, that also has a big problem, in my view. I mean, I don't like abortion, and I think, maybe we should ostracize women who gets an abortion. Prohibition certainly doesn't work, and I certainly don't advocate government doing it. Although, I don't think government should do anything. To stop murder was having government do it. Murder should be legal. And I'm not kidding when I say that. So yeah, I mean, I think ostracism is a great way to say I don't support this person, I don't want to deal with them. And not allowing ostracism is saying you're not entitled to your moral view. You must be forced to give money to and associate with that which you find wrong. Right? It's like these people who claim to be pro-choice and support forced taxpayer money for abortion.
Yeah. All right. So obviously some people may disagree with the abortion issue. Some people may disagree with the the ostracism of children. All right. Well, bottom line is, would a tool that exists, let's say, I mean, it doesn't exist yet, but if I were to make a tool that allowed you to pull up an app on your phone that would tell you the names of the people who lived in your vicinity.
It actually kind of does exist on Google. Yes, there's an app for it.
There's an app.
That's for child predators.
No, there's also another one where I believe that it does a quick face recognition from like Facebook, Twitter, and stuff like that, and it will pull up a name and but it only works for Google Glass because Google Glass has the built-in camera. So, but it will pull up a name and like.
So there's like 100 people out there that you can find with this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Google, it's not technically you're not allowed to. Google doesn't like it when you put it on there because Google is crazy and they don't want that associated with. It has been done. So.
Okay, I'm not talking about just being able to find people's. Yes, that's a component of it, but I'm talking about being able to see. Let's say if you had Google Glass and you're able to look at somebody, and it's one of the things that comes up on that list is proposed supported legislation to prohibit gay marriage in the state of California. Or actually, it could even be shortened, obviously, to be very concise. The point is that I would like to be able to just have that information available to me at my fingertips if I'm a business owner, so that I can say, you're not allowed in here, please leave. There was not too long back a politician who he and his was it girlfriend or his wife, they went to the restaurant and the restaurant owner said, I'm sorry, I'm not going to serve you here. And I thought, that's perfect. That's exactly the type of thing that I want to see happen.
Like that one guy in was it Portland where he said that the cop wasn't allowed in his
Yeah, there was one with a
cafe.
cop.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, there was one with a cop, absolutely. And then there's also a doctor who said that if you voted for Obama, don't come here. Obviously, he's gonna have a tough time figuring out who did that.
And then we lost.
He's an intolerant ass. That's not a.
What's that?
You lagged.
Okay. My ice cream truck made it to you.
The FBI. The FBI spring truck made it all the way over there.
The good news is that I think Robert and I, of everybody here, we're the closest in proximity geography-wise. I mean, we're 5 hours away from each other.
What are you talking about? Look.
Not Robert. I mean Kieran. Whatever, Albuquerque. So
As far as like where we normally live, yes. We're
yes.
very
Yes. Geography.
And the point being,
Kyron and Robert shoot similar. Yeah, they do, Jesse.
I don't know. I don't know. That makes a very
I don't
nice
get what's
looking
so
picture.
funny.
What I was going to say is this: with the ostracization, it does work. It does happen on a regular basis around the United States. The thing is the things that get the press are the ones that are currently hot button topics for most of your voter populists that are out there. Everybody, every single business owner in the United States, no matter what, ostracizes on some level based on some measure. Banks ostracize based on whether your credit rating is as good as they want or not. I mean, every single business subjects their clients and or the people purchasing products from them to this. I mean, that's just how it works. It always has worked. And we know that it works because you have banks that are better off than other banks because they don't lend to people who are not going to pay it back. I mean, you know, it works.
absolutely, it does. All right, so have we beaten on this horse enough?
No.
No.
Yes.
I'm
Yes,
going to make an
we have to
ostracization paddle and pass it around.
We have to beat the horse up more. Yeah, I was asked from
Anybody want to hit this, by the way, before I put it up?
Sure.
Hit what?
You want to hit this before I put it up? It's good stuff.
Hit what?
Elmo.
I don't think
Hit
I
what?
can you-
I believe the non-aggression.
I am
Yeah.
12. I don't know what this is.
The austere for 12-year-old.
You're in the dark. You say you have an ice cream truck. You sure you're not a pedophile?
Instead of it gives out to all the kids.
All right, so I've got a good segue for at least the next topic, since we're talking about ostracizing the police and legislators and so on. But let's just talk about ostracizing police and what it is that we would ostracize them for. Well, let's see here. Most recently, there was a cop that unleashed his police dog on an old man for cutting dandelions. In Oakville, Canada, the man was armed with a kitchen knife and on the hunt for dandelions. Yes, absolutely. Let's go ahead and stick the dog on it.
We should have got Richard Heathen on for tonight's show if we're going to talk about Canada.
You know what pisses me off? These people who say, being a cop is a dangerous job. No, it's not. Being around cops is a dangerous job.
Yeah.
They have the safest fucking job. They have all this weapon. They have all the weaponry. How many cop fatalities are there for every percentage-wise that the cop kills? I mean, it's one of the...
My 5-year-old is better armed than most cops.
Give me a freaking break.
Let's remember, in the United States, you are more likely to be killed by a cop than get Ebola, or get struck by lightning, or win the lotto,
Or killed by a terrorist.
or be killed by a terrorist. ISIS!
What about the terrorists carrying Ebola?
People
What
freak
about
out
the
about the dumbest shit the odds of happening. Oh no, there's a 0.05% chance of this happening, and I'm going to on this and ignore the real violence that occurs daily. It's retarded.
Well,
Their bathtubs are going up.
that's
Ebola
just
versus
media.
Texas. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I was rooting for Ebola. Not going to lie.
That's actually a tough choice.
But I have friends in Amarillo, so.
Well, you know what George Carlin said is the benefit of having the death penalty in Texas.
Less Texans?
Right.
Okay.
3 guys, 1 bucket says, "Good luck, Ebola, Chan.
Thanks.
Hail to you."
All right, let's look at another one that came up. A woman was arrested for possessing a spoon covered with dried spaghetti.
Oh yeah, and they thought it was drugs. I remember this.
They thought it was
Dried
methamphetamines.
Wait,
What
dried
the fuck?
No, it was dried SpaghettiOs. This got so much attention on Libertarian Gaming, it wasn't even funny. Like, we were having a blast with it.
SpaghettiOs?
Yeah,
But why the hell is she walking around with a spoon of dried SpaghettiOs?
because it's her right to.
She was in a car, and in the car she had been feeding her little toddler SpaghettiOs, and he had been eating SpaghettiOs on the way to the daycare. She dropped him off. Obviously, spoon got left in the car. Cop saw a spoon, and...
Thought she had
He has a spoon! Drop the spoon! She was on with the spoon!
Well, I just want everybody to know, in case you're worried about being pulled over by police, make sure you don't have any straws, because straws are definitely gateway paraphernalia. There is not a single cocaine user who has not used a straw. It's 100% effective. You can predict straw users.
Wait.
Oh, no.
If you guys, I'm not going to ask if any of you are cocaine users. I really don't care. But seriously, I've never used a straw.
Yes, you have.
No.
You used a straw to drink soda at least once.
Use the $100 bill rolled up.
$100 bills. Look at you. Look at
Look, I haven't been. The police have not accosted me yet. One cop was a total dick when I asked to interview him. He's like, "No," but I have not had really trouble.
They have to act like what they do not have.
And so my philosophy is just don't put up a fight. Just deal with them, and they're an annoyance in your life. The police are like a bug. You just have to ignore it, and it'll eventually fly away.
Robert,
you know what? Honestly, guys, I haven't been pulled over by cops in the last 10 years. Okay.
I don't know what to say to cops if they say stuff to me.
No,
like,
but that's it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's the thing. It doesn't matter. I mean, I live on a border community where we have to go through freaking 3 check stops just to get to the nearest major city. And well, you know, you've kind of seen part of what I do. Okay, and I haven't been pulled over in 10 years, and there's not a trick to it. It's just
be white.
Yeah, well, yeah, be white. That does help. That does help, Kieran. I'll be honest with you. That does help.
That's a
I'm
bleach.
not gonna lie. That and the blonde hair. See, blonde hair.
Michael Jackson bleached himself. Why can't you, Kieran?
Good point. Touche.
No, it was a rare disease.
No, but their laws are inconvenient at best. But let's be honest. If you follow the speed limit, it's not going to hurt you, and it's not going to hurt somebody else.
Oh, come on,
but it doesn't hurt you. It doesn't hurt you. Yeah, I am. But it doesn't hurt you to follow their speed laws or to follow their little plethora of laws, or at least try to. If, on the other side of that, I use their laws to do what I want to do.
This woman was in jail for a month for the spoon?
Yep.
47 days in jail. What the fuck? Over 47 days.
Yeah.
I would
How
also
the
like
fuck?
to,
How?
I want to point out, Robert, you
I
forgot
don't
the
even
best one.
understand the law. Like, did they not know what it was? I don't get it.
No, Robert, you forgot the best one about the frisbee golfer and the cop trying to associate all frisbee golfers with pot smokers.
Well, I don't know. I think that there's another one that was quite good, which was the 12-year-old prostitute who was beaten. Oh wait, it wasn't a prostitute. The cop.
Yeah.
Racist cop.
Yes. Of course.
Oh wait.
Well, cops are racist, but.
Oh, what was the black guy
No,
that
they fucking kill anyone. They don't.
How? There was this kid who'd gotten adopted, and just
and he went home, and the cops like pepper sprayed him.
I see white people on the wall. I have in pictures.
No, but to be fair, that wasn't just the cops' fault. The neighbors were the ones who called him in and said that suspicious male, black guy just walked into white family's house.
I will be honest with you. If anybody ever swats me, they're gonna have a serious problem. From me, not from the cops.
You should stream on Twitch. You'll get swatted pretty damn fast. That's basically the pastime on Twitch TV. Is I did an episode about that too. Holla holla, dollar dollar.
What was this about Twitch?
Oh, you didn't hear about the Okay, so there's like this, for people who don't know, there's like this video game streaming site called Twitch.tv, and basically it's just a bunch of people playing video games and doing it, broadcasting it live, kind of like what we're doing now, but they play video games. And so this one guy, I mean, it's happened multiple times, but it actually got attention from Russia Today of all random people, and the Blaze, which fuck those guys. Basically they this guy was playing Counter-Strike Go, which is basically almost like a military shooter game in the sense that if the guy wasn't playing with headphones, I'm pretty sure he would have been dead because the cops would have said those were gunshots. But basically, they get your info through either malicious ways somehow, like your address. They call the cops and they say that, in this guy's case, they said that I just shot up my coworkers and I have hostages, and if you come, I'll kill the hostages at this address. So the SWAT busts into his house, and basically, so not only did he threaten, allegedly was it threatened that he was going to kill the hostages if the cops came in. The cops just came in anyways. Fuck those hostages, right? So yeah, fuck those guys. But so basically that's swatting in a nutshell. I mean, it's just people being people.
Well, the only thing I SWAT
it's happened quite a lot over the last few months. It actually has.
And in my episode, I argued that I don't think swatting would be as possible if it weren't for the fact that we had an overreaching government or government at all. So that was the whole point of my episode, was if there were no cops, that wouldn't have happened. So.
Well, I've got an idea. If we could actually, I don't know, get redress from the government for violating our rights, you know, that would certainly help.
That guy was
now, Robert, the best way to prevent incursions from SWAT teams is to have a 4-foot brick wall in front of your house and a turnstile on top of the house with 2 minis that they can see. It's really not that hard to keep them from coming to the house if you have that on there.
It costs some money. It costs some money.
Oh my God! This is
right,
the most depressing comment I've read all day.
What?
It's about the Spaghetti-O woman, and one commenter wrote, "I hear lawsuit, and when she wins, she can have all the SpaghettiOs she can eat to her heart's content. Get him, girl." That's depressing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
that's really depressing. Bad enough that a woman has to be in jail for a month, but to be so retarded to believe that she'll actually win a case against the state?
Oh, they do. They do from time to time.
Absolutely. Well, a case of SpaghettiOs. I mean, come on now.
Oh, it's more than a case.
Well, obviously they have to do it from time to time. Otherwise, it would catch on. But they make it real difficult.
Now, Jesse, you're the local drug expert on this here stream.
I'm a local expert in a couple of different things. But yes.
Is methamphetamine Spaghetti-O colored at any point?
No. What happened is the residue from the SpaghettiOs, there was no actual SpaghettiOs on the spoon. It was the residue from the slobber from the kid and the residue from what was left of the SpaghettiOs, which hardened into the bottom of the spoon, creating what looks like a cooker. Okay.
Oh my God.
So, I mean, in all fairness for the cop, because they're not exactly well trained. In all fairness, outside of the fact that he's just an idiot, and personally, I think that all people in uniform, well, anyhow. But in all fairness, it could have definitely resembled that. The thing is that they said the dog got a hit on it. There's no possible way the dog got a hit on it. Okay? No way.
Well, I mean, maybe the dog's got a problem with some Boyardee.
He's got a drug problem for sure.
You know what I think about that's interesting about this whole dog got a hit on it bullshit? Because I keep seeing that come up with all these video traffic stops. So, oh, the dog got a hit. We can now search your car. It's really fucking unreliable to have an eyewitness human being for a crime, right? Like, eyewitnesses are notoriously unreliable, and yet we're supposed to trust a fucking trained dog that
the thing is that the dogs
getting a hit on.
But the dogs don't make mistakes on that. I absolutely am behind. I love having dogs. In fact, I've had ex-drug dogs as dogs of my own. I love having them.
Yeah, but I mean, they're trained to respond.
They can give false positives.
Commands. They can give false positives. Yeah.
There you go. Exactly.
And so
give false positives.
Guys, it was fun, but I have to go.
Bye.
Peace, yo, Daniel.
Later, dude.
Videos.
I know in Albuquerque they train the dogs to respond to black. So.
Respond to black, huh?
Yeah. So, yeah, you might be. I'm joking. I'm just messing with you, man. Again, this is fun. I haven't been with you guys on face-to-face thing in a while, so
Yeah. So if anybody happens to be able to connect me with the actual the whole discussion group thing, the panel that we had at Jackalope Freedom Festival, where there's the whole thing, please send me a message, because all I'm seeing now is just the Q&A stuff. So
I haven't seen it. I thought somebody had it. Somebody said they had it. We had like 3 people recording.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway,
I thought Alma said she tried to upload it and it just didn't work, but she does have it.
All right. Well, hopefully we can get that. because I thought it was great, and that was with Jesse and Michael Shanklin
And if you're all be there next year, I promise to bring some great kush. Okay.
Bubble.
Yeah.
Great. Now the FBI is going to show up at these things. A lot.
I hope they do.
I don't even do that, and you just ruined everything.
Well,
Literally.
I don't hardly, if I'm in a location where it's legal, then I'll do it. Yeah. So I guess we've seen some good examples of some of the things that the police officers and enforcers of the legislated bullshit do that are really crazy. If there's another one that we'd like to go over, we can certainly do that. But then at this point, we've reached the end of the hour. But certainly, since we didn't have Michael on, I think that we're just going to go ahead and kind of act like this is the after-hour show, and we can continue on with the story, the discussions on whatever it is that we're doing in our shows. So I'm going to give you just some insights on some things that have been happening on the anarchist experience. I've had most recently a variety of guests, lots of guests that have come from the ANCOM perspective, and normally I'm trying to mix it up with statists and so on, and anybody who has differing perspectives on different things, but ANCOMs seem to be just ready and willing to jump on into the debate arena. I've gotten them to basically say things as kind of ludicrous as, why should you own the fruits of your labor? This doesn't make sense.
Because you did it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a question that they believe is a legitimate one. Why should you own the fruits of your labor? That doesn't make sense.
I have known some really hot ANCOM chicks, and I always begin a conversation by saying, I hope you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and take a little sex real quick, and then, we'll get into this conversation. They always turn me down. I'm not sure why. I guess they aren't really ANCOMs, but...
And then also, I got them to agree that if you were to tell your girlfriend or significant other, you know what, I'm not happy with the relationship, I'm going to go ahead and move on, that's fine. And if she were to ask you, hey, what is it that is unhappy for you? I mean, what can I do to change things to make it so that you'll stay? That's fine. But if you tell her or him what it is that would make you decide not to leave, that's coercion.
Wow.
What?
What the hell?
What?
Yeah. That's
Karen, can you believe this shit?
Look, man, fucking ANCOM.
Hey, Karen, since you're in Albuquerque, you should drive 5 more hours with Robert. We've got a house in front of our house, so you guys actually would have your own house to stay in. It'd be comfortable. I've got alcohol.
It's a fucking trap. Don't you fucking do it.
That's true.
It's over near Tucson?
It's Tucson, yeah. Yeah, right down I-10.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I don't do the trap thing. I'll be honest with you. I'm so far past all that stuff. I did give up. I used to. I'm trying to think of the best way to say this to where the recording can't come back and haunt me. I can represent that I'm doing. I can represent that I'm doing certain things. I can represent that I'm doing whatever I want. That's freedom of speech. But the thing is when I say certain things, and it actually has a legal issue with that. So, and I hate to even have to acquiesce to that, but I used to traffic in certain
substances.
Yeah, and to be quite honest with you, I put most of that to the side at this point, mainly because, not because it wasn't financially viable. It's extremely financially viable, especially if you know what you're doing on certain levels, but because I've chosen to focus most of my energies towards training and working with people in firearms and that kind of thing, and it is amazing how many people in the Liberty world, will see. will think that you smoke a joint or something, and then they're like, oh my God, why do you have a gun? Like, what the hell's wrong with you? And I'm like, seriously, people, are you for real here? But it does happen. There's a lot of those out there. So to make it easier for the training side of it, I've put a lot of that on the back burner. And I've been focusing on the firearms aspect, which if Robert and Karen come down, I'll be more than happy to take you guys out with a load of guns that they can't possibly get us in trouble for, and we can go have some fun, So, yeah.
I'm stupid nice with an AR.
Anybody, hey, I love my ARs. Anybody else is, of course, always welcome. I've always made that extremely clear to the Liberty community. If you're passing through Tucson and you need a place to crash, just let me know. I mean, I put up, I don't know, it was over 100 people last year throughout the year for a couple of days at a time, each of them. And that's just what I do. I love to do that. I love to help people out. So I'm making that invitation open to everybody since it is the after hours thing at this point.
Thank you. Thank you.
So as far as the shows that we have here, Chuck, Liberty Geek, what have you had going on your show?
Oh, boy. It's been pretty ridiculous. The internet has been pretty ridiculous as of late. We've had the whole Gamergate thing. We've had the whole the internet censorship thing, which has kind of sort of died down again, because that never lasts long. But right now, things are going kind of slow at this point. I mean, things kind of picked up today when the head administrator and creator of 8chan was invited to speak on Huffing Paint Post live against, or not against, but along with one of their very extremely biased hosts with a girl who goes by the name Absolutely Woo, who claimed that 8chan was the whole site was basically just bullying her forever, and he said that the website's not about you, and everyone's kind of praising him for it because he's so based. But he's so based, man. But I mean, other than that, I'm trying to get him on my show. I would love to. Dude, Hot Wheels, if you're watching, I'd love to interview. I'm a fan, and I'm a journalist, so I can be a fan. That's a big ass bullet. But Hot Wheels, man, if you're watching this for whatever reason, I want you on my show, and I want to interview you, because that interview on Huffington Post was complete bullshit, and you basically were not given a fair chance at all. At all. And that's my piece.
So as far as the Gamergate thing goes, just for people who aren't familiar with, essentially what we have is a woman who has been documented as lying about what it is that she's going to do.
A woman?
Yeah, she's a woman. She's persecuting the gaming community for making video games that are very sexist and.
Yeah. And she is a voter, so she's a woman, a voter, and a feminist. I mean, seriously, the whole line thing, that's like redundant.
Whatever her name is. But, no, basically, that happened, but then the thing that blew it up was, there was another female developer named Zoe Quinn, who originally got the Gamergate name for a while, called, the Quinspiracy, but, it was found out that she had sex with, like 5 different reviewers for 5 different websites. She had sex with their reviewers to, get her game some good reviews.
I'm sure they did.
But
she is hot.
But that's basically where Gamergate has been attacked by the feminists, is because they think that, well, we're just pointing that out because she's a woman, and we wouldn't point this out if she's a man, and we're sitting here going, well, some of them are sitting here going, no, we just want gaming journalists to stop fucking have their reviews being bought anymore. But I'm looking at it as a freedom issue, with the feminists basically going all PC police on the industry, because, in my opinion, that's a form of censorship, which is a no-no. You can't just tell... I mean, you can tell someone how to make their game, but you can only go so far. Until...
Yeah, Circassian with her wanting to clean up the industry with their vision as how women are treated and so on. Yeah, there's plenty to go around. But you know what? Quite frankly, I have no problem with this woman doing what I consider a legitimate trade.
Mm-hmm.
And
Adam said the exact same thing when he was on my
But
show.
she is a feminist.
That, like I said, that's not what bothered me. I mean, what bothers me about it is just not really the reviewers itself. And for me, it's just that it's just a feminist going, "Hey, this is wrong. You guys are sexist, and you guys gotta make games the way we want."
Come on, Robert. You know you'd hit that.
Are you looking at pictures of her?
turn it up.
Yes.
Can you screen share
Robert,
that?
Robert knows he'd hit that.
I don't even know what the person looks like. So.
Oh, come on. You just Googled it.
No, I didn't. He's got something else up. So
Do you care to share with the class?
Big fat wolf.
No passing notes. Let's see the note.
Yeah, so stop that shit.
All right.
Well then, that went well.
All right, so the problem that I actually had in this is that these game reviewers, if they're trying to be legitimate game reviewers, to have them sell themselves out in this way, to me, is something that would make me, disregard them as legitimate reviewers.
I'll be honest with you. I never look at the mainstream reviews. I never look at mainstream reviews. I'm an eBay, Amazon fanatic in that I look at the users' reviews. I don't care what big name, Humboldt and Dunkerstein said about whatever. I don't give a shit. I want to know what my friends think.
Yeah, I always look at the
IGN
users' reviews on IMDb too.
IGN says 10 out of 10. It was all right.
Realistically, the gaming community already does that anyway. I mean, they don't really pay much attention to what it is that Gamers Weekly or whatever the fuck it is has to say. But we're not exactly the mainstream of the world. So
are you kidding me? I'm pretty sure we are.
Why'd you put Kieran back in the closet?
He had
Let baby out of the closet.
He had to go use the restroom, I believe. So.
Allegedly.
By the way, just so you know,
my.
It's Kyron, like Byron.
Kyron, yes.
Okay.
Kyrene. Now.
But if I call him Kieran, it makes him very happy because I used to do it all the time, and it makes him happy. So. Yeah.
But yeah. So
are you shaving your pubes now, Cody? What the heck?
Sorry, fucking neighbor.
No.
The fucking neighbor starts up that chainsaw every time I unmute. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? I haven't heard it for an hour, and I unmute.
We should talk about Garrett's show because
my non-existent show.
I just want to put you on the spot. You should get back into it, yo.
Man, school's busy, man. I don't have no time.
That's no excuse.
Orbit's
It's plenty legitimate excuse. I have plenty of things. Okay, whatever. Don't put me on the spot like this.
Hey, girl.
Now as you speak, I'm writing a proposal for a paper. Huh?
Mad Girls. You got Mad Girls, man. What's the newest name? Sydney?
Garrett, do you go to university?
Yeah, I got a new girlfriend.
Yeah.
I am going to university. I'm there right now.
Oh, sweet. So you want to make some extra money, and I'm not talking drugs. Not talking drugs.
Welcome to the state.
Yeah,
I write term papers for people. I'm just saying, I charge $50 a pop.
Is there anything you don't do? Like, next you're going to be like, yeah, I kill people for a living, too, on the side,
I never did that.
No, I got a friend who does that, and he made like 120. K. Writing papers.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant like, I used to.
Yeah, I did the papers.
120 bucks.
Killing people.
Well, here's the thing. I made the decision to stop contributing to the state several years ago, okay? And it's an extremely financially daunting task to avoid the state. It's really a daunting thing. I mean, it's hard to do.
Not at eBay.
So, on eBay definitely, and Amazon. I purchase on eBay and Amazon, but that's beside the point. So I mean, I took up a lot of different things over the last decade now, since 2005, 2006. And several of those things. One of those things was writing term papers. I wrote term papers between 2008 and 2011, and made really good money. And I'll gladly get back into that. I just got bored with it. Honestly, it got kind of old talking with stupid students all day long.
To find out how they are and on the paper, based on their stupid.
I'm writing the paper for somebody. Obviously, they're not that bright. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. But you know, the firearms thing, I was born and raised into it. I've been doing that forever. That's just part of who I am. The drug stuff, again, I was kind of born and raised into it. My dad went to prison for 3 years in Arkansas for running drugs from Miami to Mena Airfield. Do a Google on Mena Airfield, mid 70s, and you'll figure it out. And then you know, I mean, my entire family. I mean, we're all a bunch of freaking hill rods, if you want to put it that way. And I mean, I have a great grandma who went to prison for the rest of her life for killing 2 revenuers who came up to raid her still. I mean, it's just part of who we are. So, you know, avoiding the state's kind of in the family.
Yeah, you were raised by a thug, so now you're a thug. That's the way it is.
Amen. Amen, brother.
You know, yeah, recently I've had to reconsider the trying to avoid giving any money to the state, and unfortunately, the poker world is no longer an option for me. I had when I went out to Jackalope Freedom Festival, I screwed up the rental vehicle and had to, you know, that was some expenses that I couldn't. Yeah, so I'm gonna be.
I'm sorry.
Gonna be back in the thing unless you've got, you know, unless we have people who need you know, marketing material, website design, website stuff, and you know, can.
I've put the offer out there. I need to email you directly. I have my website, the libertypracticaltraining.us. I need it completely revamped, not redesigned. Like, I have a webmaster that does that part of it for me, but I need somebody to look at it from a marketing perspective and, you know, make it pretty. Because I'm just not that good at doing that, I guess. And I'm perfectly fine with that. So
that's my area of expertise. Yeah, absolutely. I'll have to, you know, get you some samples of some things that I've done.
Yeah.
Just put strands of Cody's hair on the website. It'd be awesome.
Dude, Cody's sexy. I mean, that beard alone. I've been sitting here in the dark just playing with myself. What?
Better beard right here.
Hey, if you can use both hands, you're way better off.
It is nice and trimmed, and you know, really just.
It is.
Oh,
hey,
come on!
Chuck,
I look like a traditional anarchist.
Chuck, I'm not gonna lie. If it was both you and Cody in a dark room, I wouldn't know the difference. But that's not the point. Okay.
Yo, I gotta get running because some of us actually eat for a living. So.
When was the last time you ran, motherfucker? No fucking time.
I'm gonna go. Okay, I have to get walking.
You gotta walk real fast.
I gotta walk.
This was really fun, guys. From my perspective, this was really fun. I haven't done this in several months, as Robert knows. And I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
I gotta get running too. So peace out. Thanks for having me on the show, Robert. As always.
Deuces, Garrett. And by the way, Garrett, he did say what his real issue is with time. It's not school. It's not the university. It's not writing papers. He said, I have a new girlfriend, but he didn't really say it loud enough to everybody caught it.
Exactly.
You do know that when new pussy comes into the play, it's just, you know.
Takes a lot out of
The mic's time, man. No doubt.
All right.
I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you.
Yeah, this is too much.
I'm married. I have lots of time.
I guess we're going to have to wrap this one up then. So Kyron and I are going to go off and do some karaoke. I'm going to see if I can get his best Ike Turner, I guess. I don't know.
Ike. Why I gotta be Ike?
Wear a shirt with the stars and bars on it, Kyron, and you'll be fine. Love you guys. Hey, it's been fun. Thanks.
Peace out, guys.
Jesse. It's been too long. Take care.
Yeah. You guys have a good one.
Good night.
Keep hope alive.
I'm always the